Is that one live already? Oh,
Live.
YouTube, I'm not joking.
We're live.
We're live. Put it a bit more.
Bit up. Move it down. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Praise the
Like
Lord.
it violet with the lid there.
So we're live. Greetings, one and all.
Hello, hello.
Which I always say, apparently.
What greetings?
Mm.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Greetings. And greetings again. So, depression then. Ah. What?
Oh, no,
Don't know
just
how
see
to
that
feel
too.
it.
Yeah.
Depression. Big subject.
Yeah. Definitely a subject. This one.
Probably we won't talk for that long, but that again, that depends on people's comments that come in. I haven't got that much that I want to share, except on a sort of a practical level. And we've made two outright statements there, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with depression the right way and the wrong way, we said, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, shall we give a little bit of a definition of what constitutes depression of a type? Well, COVID-19. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
That constitutes depression.
Uh-huh.
Why do I say that? I'll give you some examples, the following reasons. Not so long ago, we met a lady walking towards us. It was myself and Angelica. The lady's walking towards us, and she said she's smiling. And I was looking at her to see, you know.
Yeah, because we was both looking in her eyes.
Looking in her eyes, trying to look for the smile. And she's somebody that I know, and she's a person of color like us, you know, it's walking towards us. And she herself stopped and said, I am smiling, you know, because we couldn't tell.
Yeah, because you both
because she had this, you know, huge mask, literally covering everything except the eyes. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't wear the mask if she feels that she wants to or needs to. I don't. And Angelica also did not have a mask on at that time. But here's one of the things that people, you know, kind of just decide to overlook. You can't even smile at people nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not literally that you don't want to, but if you're even doing it, nobody knows.
Can't see, yeah.
Because when you've got a mask on, nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that constitute depression? Well, it does for some people because a smile brightens somebody's day, believe it or not.
Yeah.
A scowl does the opposite. But now we're in a position where people are actually becoming unfriendly as well.
Yeah.
So you've got the behaviour of people. You know, I've gone into shops and people have, you know, stepped back like ninjas. You know, like they're ready for a fight.
Like this, doing all of this.
And I tell them anyway. I say to them, look, you're wearing a mask, so you're supposed to be safe. So you know, you go on by your business. And for a start, you don't know my circumstances.
Exactly.
You might be the one who's making me vulnerable. But do you see now that we're in a situation of the world where we end up having to have this conversation?
Yeah.
That conversation alone is quite depressing.
Yeah.
We've got people dying with rapidity.
Yeah.
And there's no argument about that. Plenty of people seem to be dying from one thing or another, whether it be that 90% of it is always written as COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are actually, you know, struggling.
Suffering.
People are struggling now because many have been furloughed. Many have been told to stay at home shielding.
Their businesses.
You know, I spoke to somebody just the other day and she said to me, and, you know, I went to collect a parcel. So that was a must for me to go and knock on that person's door. Because my parcel had been delivered through, you know, to that person's house. So I knocked on the door, said, "Oh, I've come to collect the parcel," and then she began chatting away, blah 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 blah. And you know, I kept, you know, we kept social distance just in case anybody on here, you know, the Karens, and the Kevins want to know. We did keep social distance. Um, and we talked, and she said that she was really happy. You know, just read it in a minute. She said she was really happy for that sort of conversation. She called it a conversation of a sort, because what she meant was that she hasn't had the chance to see anybody as such. I mean, okay, she said her family have visited and brought her, shopping and food and stuff like that. But basically, she didn't see anybody, and she said it's depressing, and I get that, and I know she wasn't speaking about it on a very deep level, because she wasn't suffering from what you might call clinical depression in that sense, nothing deep. But she felt it's depressing, and she was depressed because that personal contact that you have with other people around you, just in general, speaking to your neighbors and stuff like that, it's all missing now. And even when you do go to shops, a lot of the people in shops are very rude now. It's given a lot of rude people an opportunity in their mind anyway to be rude, and some people struggle with that. So all this type of stuff adds to where people are at now with this whole thing of being depressed, because people are not having the same kind of contact as before. Some of them don't have any work anymore. They're uncertain about the future, never mind whether the world for us in the UK opens up again on the 21st of June. It might do, but that doesn't mean your job's opening up again.
Exactly.
So they've got that thing about my business is gone, my job is gone. Some people are going to end up having to get rid of a car. They're going to have to move out of their house. There's a lot of stuff they've lost family members, couldn't bury them nicely. There's so many things in this period of time that have caused depression to people. And I mean, I'm only talking about now, let alone other things which we'll come to in a bit. So I mean, by way of introduction, that's just where we're at with just a little bit of that. What's that comment there?
Depression is a serious condition that negatively affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. In contrast to normal sadness, clinical depression is persistent, often interferes with a person's ability to experience or anticipate pleasure, and significantly interferes with functioning in daily life.
Yeah.
Because I don't really like when people just start saying they're depressed just because they've had a few bad days. Like because there's an actual difference, and I don't think people are really understanding that.
Yeah,
that's very true.
But I mean, like I did put, didn't I, in the advert? I put was it Winnie the Pooh and
and Eeyore, because he's the depiction, isn't he?
And
of
Eeyore is miserable every day. But if you kind of take Winnie the Pooh as an example, I mean, those who've watched it and get the point of it. It's a children's program, but it's also there's an underlying story, that they're trying to tell you behind all of it. Eeyore is a donkey living the donkey's life. And the donkey's life is literally it's mundane. And it's boring, and it's the same old, and he's just, donkeys are the burden carriers, and they do the same thing the same way, and they're expected to carry the load. So that's why he's there, he's acting with that depressive behavior because he's carrying a load. And for people, who end up in depression, that's what it's like. They're carrying a load. And now the issue really, why I've even sort of decided for us to even touch on this subject today is twofold, really. First of all, as everybody knows, I do not only speak to people who are my skin color, but I speak to them first. Why do I speak to them first? Because they will more easily identify with me than other people, and I will also more easily identify with them. That's the only reason. And also I do it because there are not enough of us speaking to them. So I also do want to speak about the differences in how we should or might deal with people who are going through or are in the middle of depression, because there are cultural differences to how it's dealt with. There are some spiritual dynamics, which hopefully we'll get onto and talk about. And I think we need to just, look at all of that, because, some people would be told, oh, you're not depressed, like what Angelica's saying. They say they're depressed and they're not. Well, that depends on what their view or understanding of depression is.
Mm.
And there are different gradients as well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that they're not depressed. They just might not be what we,
They're not
they're not clinically
Yeah.
depressed.
Yeah.
They might not need
That's something different.
medication,
Yes.
and they might not need to go and spend some time in hospital.
Yeah.
And I'll talk later about those who are in hospital, because I've worked in hospital in the mental health setting for many years. I don't now, and I won't anymore. But when I did, I've seen all sorts, and I'll talk something about that in a while. And obviously the negative effects of depression and where it can lead to. And also some of the negative effects of even medication.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the introduction, really, folks. Put your comments, and
There is a comment.
let's bounce along between all of us.
The comment says, went to B&Q the other day, and the customer service there was atrocious. You are trying to talk to someone and they are behaving like you are an alien that has just landed. But that's part of it, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
Because like what you said, Dad, since this whole COVID thing has happened, it has literally gave those rude people or those obnoxious people, or those controlling people, it gave them more opportunity to carry on in their behaviour.
to be ruder.
To be ruder. Yeah. So they're thinking, oh well, I don't care anyway, because you could probably have corona. Get away from these are the things what people are really.
It is
thinking.
literally that,
Because
when they
you
want to
watch them-
police other people about masks.
because first of all, they don't ask. They're not asking anybody anything. Yeah, they're not asking you, oh, are you all okay? Is there a reason you're not wearing a mask? Like,
they're trying to chase you down with the
No,
mask.
instead it's you're causing this and that to my health and my life.
Which is
And you're
actually
just-
a lie.
Of course, it's a lie.
Well, if that's how you feel, why are you on the road? You stay at home.
Stay at home, be
Yeah.
shielded.
Yeah.
How many times stay at your
Stay
own
at home.
yard?
Or as
Yeah.
they say in Jamaica, Hannah, your
Hannah,
yard.
Exactly. And order your shopping online.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't even get me started. Oh, you're just ruining it. Because that's what I was telling you before. I kept seeing statuses and I had
What
to
about the
mute.
non-mask wearers?
Yes, and I had to
because you're
mute off
spreading it to
people.
everybody.
Yeah, off of my Facebook, because I know that they're probably aiming it at me, but they're not brave enough to actually
say.
at me. Yeah, so I had to mute them off because I thought, no, you're not taking me there. Do you know what I mean? You're not taking me to
They're
that
trying.
low level. Oh, you non-mask wearers, or you people that don't wear masks all the time, you're causing us to be in lockdown, and you're causing us to have this and that, and we can't see our families, and we can't see our friends.
No
Well,
one's
I've seen
stopping
my
you.
family,
No one
and
is
I've
stopping
seen
you.
my friends, and
Yeah.
nothing's happened.
Or they shove a mask box in your face without even saying it. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. You walking in the shop and then, what does that mean, please?
According to them, you're not allowed to have a choice
Yes,
about
well,
whether you should wear it or not.
I
But
mean,
you
but
haven't
I'm
asked me.
But you can
Why
see that I
I'm not
haven't got a
wearing it.
mask. So
Yeah.
why are you asking me, have you got a mask? You can see I don't.
Exactly.
What you should be asking is, are you exempt?
Exactly.
And then you would see that's the reason.
Are
there's
you
no mask.
exempt from wearing a mask, or are you not?
No, they want to chase you
Yeah.
down with the box chat about you need a mask.
But this is the thing, right? And out of this lockdown, because there's these, it's sad, right? Because there's people that are actually there, and they're not seeing their family, and they're not seeing their friends or their cousins, or even maybe their children. Yeah, all these things. They're just alone at home.
Yeah, literally.
Left just with their thoughts and the mind
foolishness
control.
on TV.
Yeah, and this is the thing that we're talking about the COVID situation first, because that's where we're at right now. We can talk about other things as well, but if you talk even about this COVID situation of either you're either at home because you're furloughed, you're at home because of shielding, You know, you're at home because of redundancy, you know, and all these type of things. Out of all of that, if you look at the prevalence of depression that there is within that, first of all, you're talking about maybe people who've been responsible all their life. They've been in work, they've had, you know, good money. Um, Even the very fact of being able to go out of your house each day,
Mm,
get in your car or get on the bus, go
mhm.
to work and spend, you know, maybe 10 hours of the day out of those four walls,
Yeah.
it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Now, suddenly, some of those people have now been stuck inside you know, looking at those four walls all day long. They start looking at their wallpaper, it needs changing.
Mm,
They look at, you know, every bit
yeah.
of paint that needs retouching.
Mm,
And then they start, you know, stewing with themselves. I don't have the money to do it.
mm,
When am I going to have the money to do it? Because I've only got a
yeah.
little bit of savings left. What I've been given or what I'm getting, you know, from the DA, whatever they're called. I don't even know what they're called these days. The benefits people, them universal credit and
Yeah,
all
they,
that.
they change their name every
Changing it.
year.
So,
I
you
don't
know,
even
them
know.
people, the government,
Government
they're not,
aid
you know, they're
or
not
whatever.
hardly giving them much money. You know, those are depressive
Mm,
things.
yeah.
Some people are having literal fear, you know, because of the fact that people are dying of COVID and so
Even
on and
maybe
so
some of
forth.
their family.
You know, people in their family and so on, they're having that fear. It
Yeah.
brings depression. You've got people who are sat at home. They don't have a large family structure, some
Yeah.
of them. So they're sat, nothing to do,
Yeah.
no one to speak to. So then they listen to the television,
Mm-hmm.
and all day long it tells lies,
Yeah.
especially when you listen to the news,
Yeah.
which is not anything worth seeing. That's what news means.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll repeat that again for those who didn't get it.
I did find out what that actually stands for, though.
And I know
What?
I've just butchered the English language, by the way. For anyone who didn't realise, if they're going to say, yes, I deliberately butchered the English language because I know any doesn't begin with an E. Okay? Before you try to correct me, my English is very good, but I've done it on purpose.
Actually,
Okay?
That's what it will be.
So, but the thing is that there are people that are they're depressed by watching the news, and they keep on watching it. First of all, because they've got nothing else to watch.
Mhm.
They've got nothing else to believe in.
Mhm.
Those of us who have Christ, thank God, we have something
Praise
better
God,
than that.
for real.
I'm going to come to that too.
Yeah, that's
But so these people get hooked on that. Now, say, well, they made themselves depressed, so that's their business. Well, okay, even if however you term it, but the depression that they end up with is real.
Yeah.
You know, they end up stewing themselves. They're stuck in this
Yeah.
place. How am I going to get out? How is it going to get better? Blah blah blah, and they get stuck there.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, obviously after a while we're going to talk about some, you know, strategies maybe how to deal with. But we're just kind of introducing depression, where it comes from, where it is, and how it's happening, you know, right now. Lots of young people as well, the same story. And
It's
okay,
very prevalent in
young
my
people
age
won't tell,
No.
especially the guys.
Yeah.
They won't say anything. And again, some people are going to say, well, we don't care because they would have been in gangs anyway if they were on the road.
No.
Maybe so, some of them, but not all.
Exactly.
And not every gathering of young people is a gang.
Exactly.
You know, when I was a younger person, I'm still young, by the way. I don't really care if you don't think I'm young, but I'm still young. All
Yeah,
right,
you're not 120.
you know what I mean. So I'm still young. So Granny is 103, isn't it? So I'm young, right? I'm still young. Now the thing is this: when I was younger, right, I didn't spend any time in the house whatsoever. For what? I was on the road all the time.
Angel said hello.
Hi, Angel. Even as a young guy, and you know, guys will admit they can do this. Guys can just sit in their car. They can they can drive in a car, drive to a car park and sit in the car. Females don't really do it so much unless they've gone there with men, and we're not even getting into that. But you know, but guys can just sit in the car for the sake of it, listening to music and just chatting rubbish. You know, because that's, and now with this now social distancing and this and that, you know, a lot of things. Are you from the same household?
Yeah.
Where are
Are you
you
the same
going?
social
What are
bubble?
you doing in that car? Blah blah blah, and a lot of things go. And yes, we can say, well, who cares? Because you're gonna stay safe. The thing is this, that people are forgetting that yes, people have got to stay safe, but staying safe is not just only as people see it about. People have to get out to get fresh air.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I'm one of these people. 1 minute. In the winter, I just about manage. I just about manage. I can stay in the house in the winter because I convince myself that it's better for me, and that's why I have to stay in, because it's like
Cold,
maybe it's
yeah.
too cold and it's snowing
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I use that as a story to myself. Yeah, and I talk to myself. Yeah, so you have to stay in, and yeah, and then I can stay in just about. And even then, because I have a dog, I'm blessed, because most of the days I will walk him and I'll go out there, whether it's freezing cold or not. I just wrap up and I go. Why? Because I can't stay in. I need to get out. I need fresh air, right? And I'm not saying that my house stinks or anything like that, but I need fresh air, and I need to be out there.
Yeah.
Right? Now we're being told, stay in your house, 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 stay in your house.
24/7.
I don't see how that's supposed to be better, because you need the fresh air. All you're doing is sitting down in the stale air. How is that helping
you? Can have your fresh air
in your garden?
In your garden.
What if you don't have a garden?
And that's what
On
I'm
your
saying.
step.
Some people don't have a garden. Sit on your step.
Yeah, that's all they're gonna
You
say.
know.
They'll find
So they can come and tell you to get inside.
Well, in Kenya, they've done that. They
Yeah.
told people to get
Well, they
inside.
started to try that, didn't they? About you need to go inside. I don't think so.
But nobody's listening over here.
Yeah.
But go on, go on.
Okay, read the comments.
Sarah said they were talking about old people in the care homes this morning and the amount of depression and isolation cases that are being reported because of having no contact with their loved ones.
Yep.
And Angel has said, human contact with people outside your normal routine is therapeutic. Even without conversing, but easygoing others converse and experiencing warmth from each other when they say hi and ask, how was your day today? And yeah, some people look forward to interacting with the shopkeeper. Or, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yes.
Yeah, and they cannot do that now. No place to detox the silence of the loneliness or being alone in their apartment.
For real.
Yeah.
That's literally
Absolutely.
on point.
Some people just
Any of you pick that up?
interaction with the shopkeeper. Some old people, they're like,
That's all they have.
Yeah, and then and chat to the shopkeeper. Now they can't even do that.
Literally, there's this older man, and he comes in with his mum. She's very old. She must be like 90s or something, and he's like 70. And he says every single time, yeah, this is the only time I really get to speak to anyone or have like a normal conversation, he said. So that's why I always try to make the effort to talk to you lot. And I said, well, yeah, I can understand that, because he's an older person, which means if he's listening to the lives on the TV, on the Tell Live Vision, he's not seeing some of his family. He's probably only seeing his mum, and that's because I haven't seen him with anybody else. It's always him and his mum, and she probably just lives with him.
He'll be in his mum's bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to help her out with things and whatever else, because she's elderly. Yeah, and they won't be seeing anybody else. And there's lots of customers. Yeah, I just come here because I need something to do.
They need something to
I
do.
need to see some people's faces.
Yes.
What I mean?
Especially right now.
Yeah.
And we're not COVID bashing.
No, we're not.
For those who are like, there they go again, going on about. No. We're not COVID bashing. We're talking about the reality of depression.
Yes.
The fact is that people need contact with other people.
Yeah.
God made us that way. And okay, those who don't believe in God, too bad for you. But God made us that way. All right? And the fact is that, even like with the old people in the nursing homes and stuff like that, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm going to have to say this because it just is the way it is. I have got more than just two children, by the way. You see these two daughters, but I've got more. And I've got stepdaughters and I've got sons also. So, and I was tell them now, when I get old, right, don't even dream. Because me, I will spend the last penny I have and you'll get no inheritance, no nothing. I would sell every single thing to ensure that I will never sit even 1 second in a nursing home. Me, John Chambers, in a nursing home. Forget it. And unless they want me to ask God if I can come back when I die and haunt them.
I can't see me being a carer for so many years and then putting my own dad.
No,
that don't make sense.
Because we all know it's not a place for us.
No.
Those who put their people there,
you're selfish. Anyway.
Shame on you.
Yeah, for real. Shame on you.
And I've heard all the stories. But you know, I'm really busy. And I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Find a way.
Yeah.
Because those people in there, you know, I've worked years ago. Thank God, years ago. It's been a long, long time since I've worked in a nursing home. But let me tell you, when you meet some of the people there, and you know, when you meet some of the people there, and you wonder, why are they so miserable and horrible?
Yeah.
But then you've got to understand, because when you find out that some of their family visit them once every 6 weeks. This was when there's no COVID, by the way. Once every 6 weeks for half an hour visit.
Yeah.
What in the heck is that?
You're right, Mum. Yeah.
You know, what do you need? I bought you some sweets.
Yeah, I bought you some socks. Cup of tea.
And I'm not lying. I've seen it with my own two eyes. Oh, okay, then see you next time. And you know, the next time is another 6 weeks.
Yeah.
They don't get to see their grandchildren.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're in a prison because they can't even come out and go where they want to go.
Yeah.
You know,
they can't even do what they want to do.
And then now that they came with this dirty COVID, they've made it even worse because now they've used that as an excuse to isolate these people even more than what they had done before.
Yeah.
And yes, we're only talking about one set of people at the moment, but you can replicate that in all the other places.
People,
you know, supported living with people with learning disabilities and other disabilities. You can replicate the same thing with prisoners.
Yeah.
You know, my son has been in prison. I haven't gone there.
Never been there once.
I haven't been there once to visit him in that prison because we're not allowed.
Yeah. And every time you're trying to book one else, suddenly there's a lockdown.
And they're hardly giving them even any space of to be able to, you know.
Yeah. You can't even hardly call.
As I was saying, these nursing homes and so-called places of care cause a lot of depression too for some elders being pumped up and abused and even robbed by the carers.
Yeah, that's what
that's why I don't like the care homes.
My friend was like a superior or whatever. She was higher up than just a carer, and she said that all the time. Things used to be going missing from the room. You know, rings, family heirlooms, jewelry, and some of the older people, of course, they have like nice clothes and things like that. Oh, they're going missing. You know, like their designer or proper things, vintage things. They're going missing. Can't find them. Then even she said one time there was this lady that she was looking after, and the lady always liked to do her hair and makeup because she was just that type of person. No, they tried to say, oh, why is she wasting her time doing the lady's hair and makeup? And
because she feels better about herself.
She had to tell the manager. She said, listen, I'm not trying to be rude. Yeah, she said, but at the end of the day,
why not?
Why shouldn't I do? That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to take care of her and to make her have.
Want her to be doing instead?
Oh, she must just get her ready, brush her hair, and fling her out in the living room.
Well, why?
That's what I'm like. And this is what I'm talking about. And these are the people that are in charge of those places.
Because for them, a lot of it, a lot
Just
of
about
it
the
is,
money.
is money making. You see.
Yeah,
And there is a fine line. It is difficult
of course.
to an extent because there are some places where you know they've got a lot of residents. Staffing quite often becomes an issue and a problem. But if they took a little bit more time to recognize and realize, okay, maybe some of these people who are here feel like they've been dumped. So let's try to give them a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
Let's try to make this like they're, that they're living with family members. And
Yeah.
quite often what happens is that they don't do that.
No, they don't.
And that's what causes the depression, because these guys end up missing their family,
Yeah, they deteriorate.
and even the personal contact that they need.
Yeah.
When I worked in mental health, there was a place I went to, there was a lady there who they said, oh, this lady is extremely violent,
Wow.
especially towards female staff. And as soon as they said that, I just knew, well, I know why she's like that. She was a lady of color. And now the thing is that what she said, because I said, right, I'm going to go and ask her outright,
Yeah.
what's your
wrong?
problem?
Yeah, what's wrong?
And they're like, oh, you need to be careful because blah, blah. I said, it's cool. I said, I think I'm big enough to deal with it. So I went and asked her, I said, what's your problem? So she told me several things. First of all, she said she don't like the food.
Of course.
And what she meant by that is plain and simple. They're not taking account of who she is.
Yeah.
So she's not getting to eat any of the type of food that she wants.
Yeah.
And they're not even helping her to find it locally or whatever, even if it's once a week or something. So that was the first thing. Secondly, she was having issues with her hair. And and they're just like,
They're
oh,
not-
well,
They're not even taking
they're not,
care of
they're
that.
not, they're oblivious to that. So I said to her, do you want me to help you? And she's like, well, can you? Because first of all, she was very shocked. She's like, what can you do? I said, I can do a lot, actually. So I said to her, look, there's some things you'll need to get. She said, and I said to her, if not, I'll bring them from home. She said, oh, well, I don't know if I'll get them in time, blah, 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 all of this. So I told her, I said, I'll bring hair oil. You get your shampoo and stuff. We'll wash your hair. We will oil your scalp, oil, and we'll plait it.
Yeah.
Can you plait? I said, yes, I can. And she was shocked. So we did it. And when I did it, the staff were, they were eating every fly that was flying because they were just. And yes, I know that the average guy can't do what I can do because I'm not average. But that's beside the point. Even if I didn't do a fantastic job of what I was doing, she thought it was fantastic because somebody took interest in her and what she needed at that time. And that's really what it was about. That a lot of people, in those settings, it's the way in which life is for them.
Yeah.
And when you're now in a setting where we are in this COVID mindset, everybody isolate.
Yeah. Don't come close.
There's a new term added to the dictionary: self-isolation. And it's now being coined as a positive thing.
And it's not.
Self-isolation is a negative thing.
Of course it is.
And it will bring depression.
Of course.
Because we are not designed by nature to be alone. We are not designed by nature to self-isolate. And we're not talking about, you must have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or a wife. We're talking wider than that even. Friendships and connections. Even that thing where that summertime, you're going to see more people on the street. You'll walk and you'll be able to see people in their gardens and so on and so forth. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah.
Even if it's only just that and you walk on. That there's that little bit. And I'm talking UK because I know in other places it's a little bit different. You get more contact than that. And there are some areas where you will have more contact. You know, when I
Yeah,
grew up,
really
when I
do
grew up
stuff.
as a youngster, growing up in Cambridge, and particularly on on a side street, which our street was what they called a dead end. So that, in other words, you drive to the end of that street and
And that's
you'll meet a brick wall.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, we knew everybody on that street, every house, every person, and we knew all their business because everybody knew everybody's business.
Yeah.
So if we even tried doing any rubbish, there's even other neighbours who will be coming to deal with us. We'd be running from everybody, not just from our own parents.
Yeah.
Connection with each other beyond relation.
Yeah.
Exactly. We need it. And it's one of the biggest things that brings depression. That, you know, when I read a lot of stories, and it's particular because Angel put that comment, I can mention some things about Kenya. I read a lot of things about certain things that go on in Kenya, like women who are, you know, in abusive relationships and stuff like that. And clearly, you don't have to ask me twice if they're suffering from depression. You know, if the husband every day is calling her a prostitute and all these type of things, of course she'll be suffering depression. But you know, the biggest issue is that those who end up in those settings often have no one to talk to.
Yeah.
No one.
Exactly. Nobody but their own mind.
And some of the churches are to blame, not all, but some of them are to blame because they're going to church, many of those people.
So what, go on?
And there's nobody in there that's asking them any day yet.
Yeah.
How you going on?
Yeah.
They just, we've
Come
got
and have
nice to
dinner at
see
my
you.
house. Do you know what I
Nice
mean?
to see you. Remember your tithes and your offerings.
Bye. Yeah.
No,
There's
man,
no
we've
come
gotta
and
do-
have dinner. Let's go for a coffee, or let's have a little talk. How are you doing? Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on with you? None of these things anymore.
No one
Yeah,
cares.
no one cares anymore. And this is the thing, right? You know what? My generation, especially, you lot are jokers. Yeah, you lot are actual jokers. I don't
Awful.
care who this offends. Yeah, because you're obsessed. Oh,
With
this
yourselves.
is mental health. Mental health. Yeah, we need to be helping people with their mental health. We need to be. Oh,
How are you going to
it's
help
all
them?
about you saying, oh, you older generations, you're the reason why. Because this is the thing. It's all about blaming everyone else and being
not
being
accepting no
selfish. No responsibility for your own actions or your own self, and just blaming everything on what's happened before. Who's done things
It's
to
my
you.
parents'
Yeah,
fault.
because that's the main thing. What's going on now?
Rubbish.
Parent bashing. Oh, it's because you know how much trauma and issues we have from our parents.
With this using words,
what are you talking
trauma
about?
is a very
Trauma.
strong
So
word.
because your mum used to tell you off when you were doing bad
And you got a
things,
little-
She sent you to wash the dishes.
Yeah.
You've got trauma.
That's
trauma.
trauma.
You got trauma because you're lazy.
Yeah, and you know what else they say? They say, oh, because obviously you know that some parents are just they're annoying, obviously, and sometimes maybe when somebody's grown up, they might say, oh, mum, you know, when I was younger, you used to say this or you used to do this, and you know that hurt me, and it's caused me to feel like this when I'm grown up and whatever else. Sometimes you have to accept that some parents are not going to accept that.
They'll
don't
just be
hear
like
it.
going.
They'll just go to sleep, or oh no, that couldn't have happened.
No acknowledgement.
There's nothing you can do about that. You can't then use that as your fuel. You know what I mean? Because that person hasn't accepted what you're saying. You can't then use that as your fuel. You should be using that situation to think, well, you know what? This is just made me think even more. I need to let this go. Because if I don't let it go, who will? It's just going to eat me away. What she said here.
Sigmund Freud, through his lived it, no one taking responsibility.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and like I said, my generation, they are obsessed with mental health at the moment because, of course, a lot of them are going through these issues, aren't they? They've got like, what's the word? You know,
Identity crisis.
Yeah, they've got like an identity.
They've got identity crisis.
Yeah, they've got no confidence in themselves. You know, they don't believe in themselves. Then they've got negative mindsets 24/7, and all they focus on is what's happened to them. You know, why they're sad or why they're feeling like this, and they're also just constantly concerned with diagnosing themselves with everything.
Of course, because they want to Google everything.
Yeah, they want to Google it. Oh well, I've actually got systematic scroniosis, some rubbish. Yeah, they're just making up stuff. Oh, I've got this and I've got that and I've got this and I've got that.
Oh yes, I know some who are exactly like that.
Every ailment
But
under the sun.
Here is the thing. Listen to this. You see, back in the day, and I say back in the day because I'm like, I mean, my time, you know. So we're not talking Queen Elizabeth the first time, you know, not that far,
slightly back,
you know. But a little while ago, we would actually, you know, the so-called diagnosis of behavior, attitude, mindset, and so forth was very simple.
Yeah.
When I was a child, the diagnosis and the medicine was very simple. You open your mouth and talk the wrong things to your parents, your auntie, your uncle, or older family members. First, you will be told you are rude and you have no manners, followed by a slap.
Yeah.
And if they don't slap you, they will be telling you, I'm calling your mum right now. And when you get home, your mum will slap you.
Yeah. Angel said mental health is the new crutch. To give ourselves validity and draw attention to ourselves. Yes.
Right. And this is exactly where I'm coming to with what I'm saying now. That I'm not saying that there are not people suffering with, I mean, okay, we use depression, but you know, it's a wider issue than just depression. I'm not saying there aren't people suffering with things. But you see, for instance, you'll have rude little Johnny that has no manners, tells his mum to F off, shut your mouth, don't tell me what to do. No, I'm not doing it. Throws a tantrum, kicks over everything in the shop, and says, I want, and I want it now. And if you don't give it to me, I'll kick off.
Yeah.
And mum is there struggling to even know what to do. And there are several reasons why mum is struggling. Number one, mum is struggling because of the government and the system.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? Because she can't just hold him by his ears and wring it off.
Exactly.
Or box him in the head.
You could just get dragged out shop real quick and no one would even be looking.
The way that she would have wanted to. Because that's what would have happened in the past.
Yeah.
But not clapping hands, if you didn't understand.
Yeah.
You know? But nowadays, she's got to look left and right.
Yeah.
Even before she says anything, before somebody's recorded her with a camera. Did you see what this mother said to her child?
Yeah.
Did you see how she behaved?
Disgusting.
What about children's rights? Blah blah blah. What about parents' rights?
Exactly.
Because this rude little Johnny will then carry on. And here's the thing. Here's how it goes. Rude little Johnny is rude at home.
Yeah.
Because maybe there's an absent father. Maybe. So let's just paint a picture and a scenario. So rude little Johnny, absent daddy, he just behaves how he wants. Shut your mouth, mum. F you. Don't tell me what to do. He goes to school and now he sees, which, you know, particularly in their primary age, will be mostly female teachers.
Yeah, because it is.
Right? Because it is. So he again will see another mum.
Yeah.
And he'll start eventually saying, shut your mouth, F you, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Oh, he can't keep himself still in the class. He can't concentrate. He does this. And then, there's something wrong. Oh, yes, he's got ADHD. So let's start giving him this drug and that drug, blah, blah, blah. And right? Let's already get him addicted to drugs and let's you know, shut him down.
Yeah. Because what is it? Attention deficit or something?
Lack of deficit,
discipline.
Hyperactive disorder.
Yeah, yeah. But it's lack of discipline.
That is exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Because even if your child has high energy levels or is a hyperactive, that doesn't mean they have to be rude.
No, it doesn't. But this is the thing and then it's used as an excuse.
Yes, it is.
For their so-called mental health.
Yeah.
You know, I've looked after people who are so-calledly depressed, and basically what it is that they're rude and they need a box in their face. And you know, and I've never, you know, I taught people for many years how to control and restrain violent and disruptive patients in mental health. And I've never allowed anybody that I'm working with to cross the line in my eyesight, and I've never crossed the line. But there are some.
Prescription ought to be the rod of correction.
Absolutely. That unfortunately, and don't get me wrong, please, some people don't think that I'm saying that you must beat up children.
No,
right?
that's not what we're
That
saying.
isn't what I'm saying. And also, we're not only talking about children, because when they've now exhibited a certain type of behaviour until they become an adult, and quite a lot of people who end up, you know, allegedly, and I'm not saying that there are none with depression, but some it's alleged, is because they want to throw their dolly out the pram as an adult, and it doesn't work. So they you know, they have this dramatic. I'm gonna kill myself. Why are you gonna kill yourself? Because you're not getting your own way.
And then after you've done that, you still ain't getting your own way. Because this is the thing, it's actually very, very detrimental the way that these parents raise these children, because they give them a false reality of what they think the world, how the world
works.
And then they're not prepared.
I'll kick off. And that you can speak to people anyhow you want, and they have to accept it. And why do they think that? Because when they were little, mum accepted it. They even slap mum, and she didn't do it.
So they're not prepared for the real world.
One of my children, if they slap me, they won't use that hand again for a good few days. I would love them to try it.
Not prepared for real life.
Even till now, big as they are, try me.
I wouldn't even.
Come on. I'm waiting because I've still got.
Could you imagine?
Right? Come on.
But some people,
if I can't get to beat you, I'll bite you.
But it's the truth, mate. And these are the same people that if they're ranked to someone and they get a punch, right, what they were supposed to get when they were young, then they're ringing the police quick. You can't do that to me. 999. Why are they saying you can't do that to them? Because when they were young, that's what they were telling their mum. You can't do that to me. I'll ring social sideline. And what did your friend say the other day? His mum used to be putting the phone to his ear and saying, "Ring them, ring them." She's looking for the number to type it in. What is it? 079. Ring them now.
Oh yeah.
And there's not. I think there's not people that listen. Right. I saw this thing because obviously, like as you lot already know, I read and look at a lot of stuff online all of the time. So I was reading this little thing about parenting. Because I just have to have a little, you know what I mean, little read into everything. I'm not a parent, but you know, I still got to read what's going on. So this was like a forum where they're talking about, once again, childhood traumas.
And remember, trauma is a serious word.
It is.
You know,
they're talking about childhood traumas and where they can develop from and what you can do. You know, to not cause childhood traumas. Exactly. So they're talking about, you know. So this is when I was saying people were giving out their stories in it about childhood traumas, and it wasn't childhood
it's not trauma.
No, people
it's just they got a little bit of discipline and they didn't like it.
That's right. Let me give you the definition so that we understand, because you know people like to use these terms,
they don't know
and they don't know what they mean. And now
everyone's a dictionary now.
You know, don't get us wrong. We are not trying to say that there is no such thing as depression.
No, that's not what we're saying.
We are not trying to say that people who suffer depression genuinely should not be helped in any way. However, and I'm saying it so loud and emphatically, deliberately, well, not even some, many of those people need a much firmer hand
on their life
than what's happening. Because what often happens, so they're just pushed into hospital, they're medicated, and then they become addicted to that medication, or they become addicted to a certain lifestyle. I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a bit, so I don't want to
Go
into that, because there are those who also self-medicate, and that's why I want to talk about it. You know, because they're dealing with certain things that they, you know, in their opinion. And, you know, like we said, we're going to talk about the right and the wrong of it. We're not saying it doesn't exist, but what we are saying is that people need first to be aware of their own personal shortcomings, that you cannot complain because people take you to task when you are a rude, nasty person.
Yeah.
Right? What you've got to do first is check yourself before you wreck yourself.
For real.
Right?
Have a look at yourself.
You know, and those who didn't hear that, I'll repeat it. Nice little cliche. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Right? Because you're busy complaining. People don't like me. Check yourself. What do you do? How do you behave? What's going on with you? Right? Because some people have driven themselves into depression because of their own attitude, behavior, and mindset. But then they exaggerate. Oh, it's a trauma.
But this is what
And the child, I blame my parents and I blame my grandparents. And listen, let me give you the definition of trauma. Listen to this. Trauma, serious injury to the body, as from physical violence or an accident. Severe emotional or mental distress caused by an experience. An experience that causes severe anxiety or emotional distress, such as rape or combat, as in those people who have been soldiers and stuff like that and have suffered
PTSD.
Yeah.
You know, an event or situation that caused great disruption or suffering. Okay? So there
you go.
You know,
and this is the thing I'm reading on this thread, right? And people on there, my mum used to do this and that to me, and my mum used to say this and that to me, and it used to really hurt me and all these things, right? And it's just caused me so much trauma now later on in life. And it's like, no, it hasn't caused you trauma. What the issue is that you can't seem to let go of things. For some reason, you've got some sort of issue with forgiving, or letting go of things. And that's another cause of the depression, because you're holding in something inside you forever. My mum used to never let me do this, or my mum used to always say I was rude, rude, or I was a little,
all of those
I was
things
a little this and that
are not really relevant.
No, it's not.
Because you're an adult now, so
exactly.
All of that doesn't really matter.
It's not relevant.
Drop it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And when I've said, like, if you want to speak to your mum or your parent or whoever this person was in your life and say, this is how you made me feel at this point, then do that. That's what you need to do. But after that point, you need to let it go. There's nothing more you can do past that point, unless that other person is willing. And guess what? They're not always willing, because if they were willing, they probably wouldn't have done what you think they did in the first place. You know what I mean? And there was one woman on this thread now. She's there about, I'm a mother of 3. She put like a little video up, right? And already that I thought, you're gas. But whatever. So she's put up a little video. This is just a little video to talk about how I raise my children and what I do to try and minimize childhood trauma and minimize childhood trauma. You don't know what it's okay to have some. You don't know what it is. Clearly, childhood experiences are not the same as childhood trauma.
No.
Yeah, and I think people need to understand that. So she said that she'll, if her child wants to do certain things, as long as it's not, dangerous, to their health or whatever, she'll allow them. Yeah, as long as it's not detrimental, she's allowing them. She won't tell them no and all these kind of things.
One of them.
Yeah, she won't tell them no if they have something that they, if they want this for dinner and she's made something else. She'll just, adjust to the situation. She might maybe make one other thing to accompany
No.
that dinner, and
No.
all, because it's all about give and take, and this is what
No.
she was saying, right? And I thought to myself, should I reply to her? And then I thought, no, I'm not going to, because if I reply to you, you're gonna cry by the end of this, yeah. So let me not even touch on your scary bad parenting skills, yeah. You're putting like a cotton ball around this child,
Literally.
yeah, all these children, and then they're gonna go to school
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna be bullied, yeah,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
oh, you're a little weirdo,
Or
yeah.
they will become the
Or
bully
exactly
because they're not getting
what they
their own
want.
way.
Yes, yeah, and this is what's going on in the world. And then those same people, I'm telling you now, those parents, you literally see it, right? When you watch that Super Nanny and all them, those parents are depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because why? Their children are running them.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
running the house
And then-
instead of the
And
parents.
the teenagers that are in the house, they are depressed. Yeah, why? Because their parents are too busy not disciplining the younger ones, so they have no time
for the rest.
to even look or even hear or see what's going on with their other children. So that child then feels neglected. Yeah, oh, my mum don't even talk to me, and when she does talk to me, she's just shouting at me, telling me to go sort out the children, or you know what I mean?
Because the lack of discipline has made them so stressed out they can't deal with the rest of their children.
Yeah, they can't even function normally anymore, or even they don't even like their children anymore. You know what I mean? And then it causes this toxic environment in the household.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings depression
Yeah.
for the children
Yeah.
and for the parents.
Everybody.
For everyone.
Everybody.
I'm going to cut you off on that, and the reason why I'm going to cut you off on that is because it's almost running into our next week's
Okay.
topic. So I don't want you to talk too far about the relationship issue, because we're going to talk about that next week. So if we move it forward a bit, we've kind of said where the depression comes, how it comes, and you know, some of the directions that it comes from. Let's leave it at that. And we know that there's reality, that that depression does exist, and other forms of mental illness. Depression is probably the major one.
It's the largest one.
But then now, what happens is that you quite often depression is where things may start.
And
then what happens is that people decide to what I call self-medicate.
yes.
So this now is where the issue is, that you decide, because you know you're struggling with whatever, you're struggling with that depression because maybe you're just isolated, you're not seeing people, you don't have people to talk to about your issues, your problems,
or you don't feel that you can,
or you don't feel that you can. So you decide the best way to shut those problems up, because maybe they're speaking in your head, or they're just going around in your head. You keep thinking about them too much. You decide, let me, take a drink.
For real.
It becomes 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 12, 15
bottles,
and on it goes.
But it's the truth.
And then it starts to become a habit.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an addiction.
Yeah.
And then now you have a different problem.
Not just the depression.
Because you don't just have the depression, you now have an addiction. It may be addiction to alcohol. And the alcohol may now do one of two, it may do a few different things with you.
Yeah.
So you might be a happy drunk.
Yeah.
So when you're drunk, you just get happy.
Yeah.
And then you misbehave.
Yeah.
So you're drunk, you're happy, you're everybody's girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody can, everybody can ride the bicycle.
Yeah.
Or you're everybody's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Same difference.
Yeah.
That happens. Or you could be a nasty drunk.
Yeah.
You hate everybody and you want to fight everybody, and you are the bad man of the world.
Yeah.
And you can fight everybody and beat everybody, and they have to know. Or you could be a nasty mouth drunk.
Yeah.
We had a family member. These guys, they didn't know him before their time. Boy, Jesus Christ. The man was awful. in my family, there's a lot of drunkards. Yeah, it's true. My father's side of family and then people there. And his mum's people and so forth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drunkards. This particular one, was a Chambers, I should say, not is. Awful. When he's not drunk, he was actually all right. Pleasant enough person. But obviously, there's stuff that he was going through that been going through all his life. And his way of dealing with it was to get drunk. But what would happen now when he got drunk, he turned into
Someone else.
He turned into a bad man.
Yeah.
So now when he got drunk, he would tell you some Jamaican curse words that I've never heard from anybody else's mouth except him. It's like he patched them up and made them for himself. Right? But you just knew you're being cursed. And he will curse everything that moves. If a cat walks in front of him, he has to get some as well. You know, it was absolutely, he was vile.
Terrible.
Horrible, horrible man when he was drunk. And he used to make himself drunk a lot.
Yeah.
Because he was covering a lot of things. But it then turned him into a person that people didn't want to be around because they didn't like him, because the person that he had become or that he was becoming each time he was drunk. And he's doing it to cover many things up, but they didn't like him. I knew another person similar, but he wasn't so much of a vile drunk. He was more of a happy one. But he would say, you know, because he would drink to the point where he turned into an idiot. So he would just be, you know, wow.
Yeah, where people are getting tired of him.
And people are just like,
carry him around.
why have we got to go and find you again? You know? And help you find your keys to get into your own house. All this, don't you know? No, I lost my key, and his key's there in his pocket. You know, but he can't even find his pocket. You know, these type of things. And when I've sat and spoken with that person, same thing. You don't know what I've been through in my life. You don't know the things I've suffered. Don't know the things people have said about me. And so he's like, so you're drinking to cover it all up.
Yeah.
But it's not really working because it's mashing out your liver, you know, your health. Otherwise, you're getting gout and all this kind of business. It's turning you into a maniac. You know, people are disliking being around you because of your drunken
Antics.
Your antics. You know? And this is the thing. And then even there are others who take drugs of various descriptions. Because again, they're trying to run away from things and cover things up. These, you know, and these are some of the ways that people are dealing with these things. They end up then with psychosis. Right? Because the drugs have altered the chemical balance of their brain. They've already got stuff going on that's altering the chemical balance without the drugs. And then now you add in these illicit drugs of probably that maybe if you use them in very small quantities would be okay. But they're using them without any understanding, because obviously they're not medically trained or pharmaceutically trained. They're just banging in whatever they think makes them happy. So you're giving yourself a very high up, and then you've got to get back down from that high up.
To a normal
You know,
level.
so when you're coming down from the
crashing.
up, you're crashing. Or you give yourself a down because you're too high, and then you've got to raise up from the down. You know,
The cycle don't end.
you see, and these are the things that add, you know, to the depression, add the fuel to the fire. And when we talk, you know, when we talk about young people, especially,
it's serious,
right? Of you know, Tamar's age group, the ones now, you know, the late teens and the 20s and up, you know, 20s going upwards. These guys think that they're clever. Nah, well, you know, a bit of this is all right and a bit of that. Yes, it might be, but it depends on how your brain is already situated.
Exactly.
So if you've already got what you call trauma because you're lazy, I don't call it trauma, but you know they know what I mean. You're vexed that, you know, your parents made you do stuff that you didn't want to do. So that was trauma. So you've already classified it in your mind as trauma. So that's how your brain registers it. Because you keep telling yourself that it was trauma. You know? So you carrying this so-called whatever, and then you add your own version of drugs to it
Going out
to
all
cool
the
you
time.
off, you know, put you on a level
Yeah.
as they call it. But you're leveling yourself continuously,
Mm.
leveling. But you're not dealing with the problem. You're just covering it over.
Yeah.
So whatever it was that you actually need to deal with,
It's still
It's
there,
still
deep
there.
rooted.
deep rooted and probably deeper than it was before.
Yeah,
Because
because
you've
you've
now-
buried it
you've now
in
covered it.
under. Yeah.
With, you know, all this stuff that then gives you this. You start now having hallucinations, and you know, everybody's against me.
Mm.
It's not only them
Paranoia.
that hated me. There's more,
Yeah.
right? And no, you can't even get a job.
Because you can't function normally. You can't think straight. You know.
Everybody is a problem.
Yeah, because you can see when you see young people, like there's this one young boy in Leeds actually, and I don't know him, and I don't know if he's always been in Leeds or if he came from somewhere else or what. But he's often just wandering the streets, in town,
Mm.
and there's some psychosis going on there because I see him and he's just speaking to himself and he's yeah. You've probably seen him. Because he's always near the that music shop, down at the
Where the
bottom.
bus stop is.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
I
you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with him, obviously, but clearly he has no support network because he's obviously homeless, which is why he's always roaming the streets.
Mhm.
And he always asks me, "Oh, do I have some money or some food and them things there?" Yeah. He has no support network. He has no friends, clearly, because nobody is helping him. You know what I mean? And then whatever he's taking or whatever he's using his money for or whatever is just pushing the psychosis. It's making it worse. Yeah, and I know for a fact that he knows that he has a psychosis issue, which is why he's on the road because he won't go to no hospital because in his mind he's thinking, nah, I'm not getting locked up or I'm not going somewhere to get help for them to put me in a place against my own will. Do you know what I mean? And I can't leave from there. So no, I'll just stay on the road.
And that's the problem with a lot of them.
A lot of them because
they know that they don't really want to help you. They
No.
just want to shove you off and medicate you.
yes,
And they don't want that.
exactly.
They'd rather medicate themselves.
Exactly. And this is what's the thing.
Mm.
Because I watched this thing called Drugs Map of Britain. Yeah. And it was juicy. I can't lie. Find it. It's on BBC iPlayer. Yeah, Drugs Map of Britain. And it was showing like these drug addicts, innit? And why they were using heroin and crack cocaine and all these things. And one lady, she used to be a doctor, mate. She used to be a doctor. She owned her own house and all of this. She had a child. She had a husband. All these things. She was living that what they would call a normal, not even normal, higher than normal life. Yeah, she was wealthy. Do you know what I mean? And then what happened? Her child got run over.
And she got depressed.
And she was depressed. Yeah, and she just went down and down and down and down. And then something happened to her husband. Yeah, and then from there, she said from then, that's when she decided I'm taking heroin. And from then she's been what's the word? She was addicted to it from that point, from that first initial time.
Yeah.
And then now, when you saw her in the clips that she took the heroin, because obviously they film them when they take the drugs and stuff, and she started hallucinating. She's crying about her daughter.
Yeah, because it's all these things that she's pushed down.
Yes.
And when she's taking them drugs, it's just bringing it back out.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just bringing it back out.
Brings it right up to the surface.
But because she's not coherent, she won't remember it.
Yeah.
So to her, it's because it's giving her a blank sheet or a blank moment of time where she doesn't have to think about that what's going on because she's not in her right mind. She's obviously, she's taken the drugs, she's high or whatever. And the mum was saying to her like, "Oh, what were you crying about?" And no, and that's what she was saying. She was like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" She didn't understand what he was on about, and because literally she went from crying to then she was normal, and she was chatting some rubbish, and then he said, "Oh, are you okay? You were just crying," and then she said, "What are you on about?" Like that. She's not really getting it.
Yeah.
And when he tried to speak to her afterwards, that's when she was saying like, yeah, you know, I've had a lot of things going on in my life. And
Maybe those like episodes seem like dreams to them.
yeah,
And
maybe
why
that's
it's
what
like,
it is. Yeah.
nothing changes.
Yeah, nothing feels different for them. They just feel all I'm doing is going to sleep to get away from my problems for a bit. Because that's also another thing that people do, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just go to sleep. Yeah, because literally I saw it on the thing. It was like on Twitter. Someone said, "Oh, have you ever had them days where you just feel so rubbish that you just think all I need to do is just sleep because then I don't have to be, you know, coherent, knowing what's going on, awake.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with anything." And I think
Mm.
that's once again that's another part of the problem. People don't really want to deal with anything anymore, do they? And if they do want to deal with something, it's in a negative way.
Yeah.
So the only way they know is, you know, to self-medicate, as we said, and
such an important topic. Too many people living with this day by day and can't find a way out.
Yeah, for real. Because I think like I said, this generation now and this time that we're in, everybody's obsessed with talking about depression and mental health. So many people have killed themselves just even in this last year, and no one cares.
And no one cares.
No one's talking about it because they've been told it's a COVID death.
Yeah,
It's a COVID death and all this, and yeah, probably COVID has been responsible in some ways because of this rubbish of self-isolation and stuff like that. And you know, I was just looking at something there for definition, and you know, they don't tend to use the term, or they don't use the term neurosis anymore in psychiatry. I think it would be good if they did. But you see, they used to kind of be used in two different terms. Neurosis was a milder form, which would cover things like anxiety, depression, and you know, those type of disorders. Then you've got psychosis, which they still use. And now you see, the thing is this, that I see it this way, and this is what I want to sort of put across to people. I'm not trying to put myself forward as a professional or expert in terms of what psychiatrists have to say or psychology. But on terms of the spirit, yes, I will put myself forward as an expert. And you can test me on that and judge me on that as much as you like. That I am an expert in the spirit. So here's what I have to say. When it comes to what goes on within a person, you know, in terms of how we're affected by our surroundings and our connections and all stuff like that, we all know, whichever way we look at it, we all understand that we've got a physical body, we have a soul, and we have a spirit. Even if you are not a Bible believing person looking at the Bible as a Christian or anything like that, everybody understands that, you know, to some level or another. So normally, you know, when they talk to people and they say, well, look, this person has now gone that bad that they're now, you know, they're totally disassociated from reality. They're now speaking to unseen entities. They are now seeing unseen entities. So you'll get now somebody that's seeing beings walking through the walls, coming down through the roof. You know, they've got beings sitting next to them. They're having discussions with them, and so on and so on. Oh, they're suffering severe psychosis. And now they'll tell them, well, it's not reality. You've gone outside of reality. No, they haven't gone outside of reality. They've reached a different point in reality. They're now on a spiritual level. And this is what the issue is, that they actually know, but they don't want you to know. So you're told, no, it's not like that. Take this medication. Because somebody else may say, well, I'm hearing all these voices, they're telling me to do this, do that, do the other, so on and so forth. Now, those voices that are continuously speaking, say whatever, Oh, it's just voice. Okay, so
Where
where did they come from? Nowhere. That's a lie.
Exactly.
They're demons.
They're demons. Yeah.
Right now, I'm not going to get too far into this because I just don't want to. I teach this in a totally separate thing.
Yeah. If you're
Go to my
interested,
Facebook page,
message.
and you can look. I did a teaching on
Oh,
Sunday
yeah, just the other day,
about
yeah.
demons. Fairly comprehensive. I didn't cover everything,
No, that was just like a little.
but it was like a taster, like an introduction. But it's there. You can have a look at it, and you can message me and ask me anything you want. But it's demons. Demons are real.
Yes, they are.
Right? Because at the end of the day, just like to say, well, we're just your physical body. No. But when someone is having an effect that now is in their psyche, that's not your physical body.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And so dealing with it by physical means won't always work.
No.
And in fact, in most cases, will not work at all. So this is the reason why then you have people who end up going through certain things and they say, right, let's give them this medicine. They start swallowing whatever tablets that they're giving, and it's not really helping.
Yeah.
At the most it might do, it might quiet down.
Yeah.
And for some people, it doesn't even do that.
No.
They'll tell you that, oh, I used to hear them screaming and now they hear them whispering.
Yeah.
I've been told things like that. They're not screaming anymore, they're whispering now.
Yeah.
And I can deal with the whispering, but they're still there.
They've not gone away.
You know? And they're just not able to scream, but they're still there. And then you've got those where none of that matters. And there's the ones who then end up either killing themselves, sometimes killing other people, you know, and all this type of thing. And now, okay, you know, we said we're talking as well about, you know, the right and the wrong way of dealing with some of it. Well, on a simple level, without, you know, spiritualizing it for, you know, saying, okay, you get inside the Bible and let them pray for you and all of this. Okay, let's leave that aside for a minute. For many of our people, the ones who look like us with more melanin in our skins, we like talking. We need to talk.
Yes, you have to talk.
And this is the number one thing that they like to shut down.
Yeah.
Any black person, brown person, or whatever you want to call yourself, because I know many of you still call yourself black. So let me use your term for you, not for me. People of color is what I choose to call. Any of these people will tell you in their school days that it's always been an argument with the teacher. Shut up. Be quiet. You're talking too much. Blah, blah, blah. Because we talk. People are not all the same, so you can't treat them all the same. You know, many of us, we like to verbalize our feelings.
Even something small could happen.
And you know, it's also cultural to an extent. I'll give you a very, very nice example. My wife is a Kenyan. She's loud anyway, but not like me. Not even close.
No, but
she's still loud. So if you took and compared her with a Caucasian person, she's loud. But now compare her with me, a Jamaican, she's not loud. See, but now she's loud when she's on the phone, and I ask her, why do you not just put down the phone and just scream at them? Because they'll hear you anyway.
You always shout on the phone.
She shouts on the phone. But now her emotional exuberance doesn't match mine. Because now, like for instance, she'll say to me, if I've said something to her and she's not like hearing, I'll say, you know, I don't know, for example, I'll say the blue one. And I've said it like twice and she's not really heard. And then I'll be like, I said the blue one. And she'll be like, and why are you, what's all that for? What? Why are you carrying on like that? Why are you behaving? Now you see, I'm not mad. I'm not psychotic.
No.
I'm not swallowing any medicine that I shouldn't. I swallow enough already, which I'm tired of, so you know, I wouldn't be adding any to it.
Of course.
You know? I haven't drank too much white rum. You know, so I've got some in my cupboard. You know what I mean? But it's not any of that. It is who I am.
Yeah.
And so it comes out in that way. Now, what happens is that when it's coming out like that and there are other things going on, if I was in a depressive state and it's come, oh, this guy is a psychotic because he's a bit loud and violent. It's like he's going to be violent, blah, blah,
He's
blah.
gonna be angry
This
or
now becomes
whatever.
the issue. Now, where there's an understanding and they can then speak with people on a level, can bypass that. But now, because we like speaking and we like expressing, and sometimes we will express loudly,
Yeah, for real.
you'll be labeled there's a problem.
Yeah. Because even in school,
Always.
that's what used to happen. I remember one time, right? And I remember this situation all the time, actually. I think about it quite often. Yeah, because there was this person in class. Obviously, I'm not going to say their name. I was in class and there was this person in class, and I wasn't in a good mood that day for various different reasons. You know, something was happening at home or whatever. Maybe I was arguing with my mum or something because I was at that age, you know, when you're at that age. You know, and a lot of things are going on when you're at that age. You've got a lot of emotional turmoil happening, you know. And I think and I was late to school and all this, so it was just piling on, right? And I've got into class now, and I'm just like, whatever. I don't want to speak to no one. You know what I mean? No one chat to me, and I've made it clear because I was that type of person. Like, no one speak to me because I ain't in the mood today. So everyone just leave me alone. You know what I mean? And then now, this one guy took it upon himself to try and speak to me. Yeah. And I'm like, please just leave me. Yeah. I'm like, can you please, seriously, I'm being serious. I'm having a bad day. Just please leave me alone. Yeah. And I said it nicely several times until I had to get vexed. Yeah. So then I had to be there, like some maniac in the classroom.
Oh yeah, but nobody heard not one single thing come out your
And then
mouth until you do that.
this is everyone.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All their heads moving at looking at me. Yeah. What's going on? Yeah. And then the teacher said, oh, go outside and all of this.
Yeah.
So obviously then when I've explained what was happening, the teacher has still been like, oh, well, I understand, you know, that you're you're not in a good mood or you're not going through, but you don't need to react in those ways. You need to try and control your reactions and all.
Because they think he said one thing and you reacted like that from him saying one thing. That's why. And I couldn't stand that stuff at school.
And those are the little things that we're talking about. Because then, as well, there was other times where maybe I had reacted in the same way, from a similar situation where I'm being irritated to the point where until you're not getting it, until I have to get vexed, to show you I'm not playing games, leave me alone, or I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I'm not interested. I don't want to speak to you. They then started saying, "Oh, is everything all right? You know, at home and these kind of things." I said, "Ring my dad." Yeah, I said, "Ring dad and speak to him because I'm not speaking to you lot about is everything all right at home." Yeah, everything's good. It's here that the problem is at school.
Exactly.
Yeah. and they used to, and the thing is, what's funny is that it wasn't just me. They used to ask that question. Every brown child, all my friends, if they reacted badly to a situation, or if they got angry at school, or anything like that, and showed their emotions, is something going on at home? Is everything all right? Are you okay?
And so they still do that to this day.
Yeah.
They did it to Alexis.
They did it to Alexis as well.
And you only care. It's funny because they only care when something's going wrong.
They want something.
If you're doing a disruption, if you come to school and you don't speak and you don't do anything and you're just, they're not going to ask you once, even if you're a talkative person, they might say, "Oh, you're all right." And if you're like, "Yeah," boom, they're leaving it there. They're not saying anything else.
And that carries on from childhood into pre-adolescence, adolescence,
and adulthood.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
And you find that, like I said, for us, people of color, we like to talk. And there are people.
What did she say? Like a larger than life character. Please explain what that means.
Who said that?
Your manager or whatever.
Oh yeah, but that's always the way because they mean that you talk too much.
Yeah.
And that you've got got
Got too much
too
to
much
say.
to say.
Yeah.
And that was always the case. And okay, somebody else could say, well, you lot are all the same family, so of course
Maybe
you're going to
that's
have the
what the
same
issue
thing,
is, yeah.
and that's the issue. Well, yeah, it might be
But
as
no.
well,
But
but no, because I'm telling you now that most people of colour
yeah,
Have the
I've got them
same-
would
stories.
prefer to be able to have talked their way through their problems and issues
Yeah.
in the right manner.
Yeah.
But now what happens is that instead they want to give you medication,
Mhm.
or if the medication isn't working, they want to label you and lock you down.
Yeah.
You see?
You can't be in
you
this
know,
place because you're this and that.
and that's the way they do it. And now that doesn't work.
No.
Clearly, self-medication doesn't work.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, a lot of the options that are left from the
Government
side of things, they
Yeah.
also they don't work.
they mash it up because
You
they're
know?
just interested in. I mean, I think it all ties obviously into the pharmaceutical
Yep.
companies, doesn't it?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And they just
'Cause it's
want
a
to push,
money-making
yeah,
thing.
they want to push their pills. You know what I mean? If you become dependent on their little pills that to help you with your depression or to help you
You'll
with your
take them for
anxiety,
life.
you will take them for life, and you will even start to pay for them.
And you might
Because
even have
you are
exactly.
reliant.
And
you know
you'll,
what I mean?
or you'll even have side effects.
Yes.
And you'll have
you
the
need
something
drugs
else
for the
to
side
counteract
effects.
that.
Yes.
Yes,
You
the
know?
money is in the
Yeah,
medicine,
there's always
not the
a
cure.
deeper root to what's going
Of
on in the
course.
world. And I think
People
this
don't
is
like
what
to
our
look
lives are
deeper.
always proving anyway.
Yeah.
They're showing that there's a deeper root to the depression and the mental health issues that are actually going on right now in this time of the
Not
world.
enough people are looking into those issues.
No,
They're just
they're
being
not.
told and then accepting.
But this is the thing, because they've grown up in this era where they literally watch the TV. Oh, you know, if you feel this way, Timmy went to the doctor because Timmy was sad for 3 weeks. So he went to the doctor and the doctor gave him these pills and now Timmy can go to the shop and ride his bike and
Timmy can dance around like a maniac.
exactly. Yeah, but what happens when you don't take that pill one day?
Then
you crash back
crash.
down. And then you want to kill yourself again or whatever else.
It does take a combination of things, but then also, people have to bear in mind that you've got to get a balance, and you've got to get to the place where people are speaking the real truth.
Yeah.
And this also, again, is a cultural dynamic.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get the situation where people are just, oh yeah, that's how you're all right.
You'll be all right.
And then it's a lie.
Mm.
And at least my people, my family who I grew up with, and how we are, we're not going to tell you that.
You're not all right. What's wrong with you? What's going
We're
on?
not going to tell you that.
You know what I mean? Talk to me. What's happening?
And I also don't want to hear that.
No.
I want you to tell me the reality.
The reality. Yeah.
You see? And now I'm going to say this, and this because I said we wouldn't go too long.
Yeah.
We're coming up to an hour and a half, and that's about cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this because this will kind of go on, will kind of lead us into our next week. For our people of color, and I don't, like I said, I don't speak only to people of color, but this is what I'm going to say in terms of how things go for people of color, because we've talked a bit about depression and some other types of mental illness and that overall sort of struggle that people have. We do not help ourselves. We don't help each other because, let me put it in the vernacular that is good for me, we're bad mind.
It's true.
Right? Anybody who doesn't really understand what I meant by that, you're free to ask me and I will try and explain it.
Yeah.
But most people, you understand. Bad mind people.
Yeah.
So a lot of what happens, instead of us, when we even see sometimes our brothers or sisters struggling,
suffering,
we see them suffering, and I'm not just talking necessarily mental illness. It could be that they've not reached that point yet, but they're struggling with life.
Yeah.
They're doing things wrong. They're making many mistakes. You might see somebody's child is going astray. The way how they're behaving, and are they well, I was going to say how they're flexing. Let me just say how I'm saying it. Those who get me, they get me. And you're looking at them thinking, that's not right.
Yeah.
Now, because now people have learned this bad mind, and I'm not going to say where it came from. Those who know where it came from, you know, right? But because of this bad mind behavior of people, you're not saying anything.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you say, yo,
What?
so and so, your so and so son, you see me, right? What he's going on with,
You need
to
sort it
check
out.
him.
Yeah.
And next time I see him on the road, I'm going to check him, right?
If you don't.
And this is the thing, because now it's like, oh no, you can't.
Yeah, because if you say that now,
You know, you can't be. No.
how dare you?
We need to remember who we are and what we want.
Yeah.
You know, relationship is very important, and community cohesion is very important to us. And we don't actually exist well as people when we don't follow that. You see, and this is what I'm saying, and this is part of the whole thing that this COVID rubbish is trying to break all of that down, right? This is our problem. And then there are many people who already, even before the COVID, they were bad mind. Now that the COVID came, is an excuse for them to be even worse than before.
Yeah.
You know?
They feel justified now.
And Jamaica, you see, English in the English vernacular, you just have the worst and the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and beyond the worst, there isn't anything. For a Jamaican, there is was, wassa, and wassara.
Yeah.
Right? These people have become wassara. That's where we're at because of the bad mind.
Yeah.
And they use COVID as an excuse to be more bad mind. And that's really what we need to talk about next. Because when you're talking about people who are struggling and, you know, families that are going through things and so on and so forth, well, it comes back to relationship.
Yeah.
You see? So that's where it is, because there's some people that they'll see you're doing something, a fellow person of color like them, and instead of them supporting it, they'll either run it down,
or air it off.
They'll air it off, or then they'll go and do their own one.
Yeah. But the same as you
try and do what you know.
Do you one up?
Do one up.
Yeah.
Or, as Jamaicans say, run again.
Yeah. For real though. Yeah. And this is really what's going on. Yeah.
And we've got too much of that going on.
Way too much.
So and that in itself, because it's going on, and it's some of the elders who are doing it, as well as some of the mid-range or younger people. The others, they don't know which way to. Young people, young guys who are looking at that, then they don't even know what they're saying.
Well, my dad didn't even.
You know, what am I supposed to be doing then? Because because where's the example? And then they're confused.
Yeah.
You see? And so it's like we're falling into the trap of self-isolation.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that next week, about relationships. Like I said, we've said enough on this subject.
Yeah.
Not everything. We were not on here to be the definitive answer.
No, it's not.
You know,
give our opinion and
I just mentioned a little bit about the spiritual aspect because I don't want to speak about that separately.
That's heavy.
There's a live that I already did on Sunday. It's there.
There's your introduction.
And I'm going to do more. I know, and some of them will be live on my Facebook page. Go and have a look. You know, and those who want to know more about the spiritual aspects of where depression and other mental illnesses come from, message me anytime.
Yeah.
Because yes, there is a crossover. Mental illness is not demons, and demons is not mental illness.
Yeah.
But there is a crossover sometimes.
There's an overlap.
All right. That's the final thing I want to say. So if you guys have anything to say to finish, go on.
I don't really have much to say really, because I feel like we've covered most of it, haven't we? You know, like what Dad said, there's a crossover with, you know, I believe the same spiritual things going on plus physical things, which is what causes these mental issues and disorders.
And people have opened themselves to those spiritual things.
I think
from their self-medication.
Yes.
When these people don't know about these things or choose not to believe in those things,
That's where the issue is.
Yes, because then
they're like, well, what you want about there can't be no crossover because I don't believe in demons.
Of course. I don't believe in demons. it's just
It's just what the doctor
stuff.
said.
It's just, you know, it's just your brain
Yeah.
making up stuff and all of
Yeah,
this.
whatever
Yeah.
they've been told by the
By the
professionals.
professionals,
Then
by the
that's what they
That's
believe.
what they
pharmaceutical,
believe.
yeah, by the pharmaceutical companies who gain money off of your illness. Yeah,
Yeah, but there's a lot more to it.
yeah, there is. And I think literally the community situation. Well, that's
Yeah.
we've been singing that tune for a while now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we're going to talk about it next
Yeah,
week.
we've been singing that tune for a while. So, and I think all of our lives have a like an underlying fact of community and
Yeah.
coming together is what's really needed
Yeah.
on a large scale
Yeah.
across different situations, not even just depression.
Mm.
More than that, there's more things going on that need to be dealt with and, you know, tackled. But that can't happen if there's only 3 people are interested in talking about it.
Yeah.
What's that? Do you know what I mean? Yes, we're doing something, but more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, more needs to
But
be
you
done.
see, what we do, and I think we've done it quite well so far,
Yeah.
is provoke people to think.
Well, that's it.
Yes,
And
to get
provoke,
people
and
thinking.
provoke them to go and look.
Mhm.
Because even when we
Change
do
their
the
minds.
live, sometimes, you know, we might have 5 people on at a time, 6 people.
Mhm.
There's some who are hiding themselves and whatever, you know, but we know we get a few hundred views
Yeah.
all round, you know, each one we do.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
basically,
comments afterwards.
some
Mm.
comments come later sometimes. Some people don't comment, at least not on Facebook, but they might say something in person.
Yeah.
Some people don't say anything, but they've watched it.
Yeah.
All of that for me is good
Yeah.
because we're not trying to win a popularity contest here. We're not trying to get famous.
No.
I'm famous already. Whether you know it or not, that's up to you. But me, I'm famous already. So
I
Just-
don't want to be famous.
just learn that.
I'm all right.
I'm already famous,
Well, I'm famous enough anyway. I don't need to be more famous.
and it's not even
I'm
about
already
that.
on Facebook and YouTube.
And we're not necessarily trying to make money from it. But
No.
if you want, give me some, I'll take it.
Yeah, for real.
So even that is not, you know, because
Brand, follow us.
you know, San Diego, you know, we can be here showing your stuff, whoever you are.
Exactly, brand,
Right?
follow us. You think I'm joking?
Because we'll tell them, what,
Showcase them.
you know, we'll
As
showcase
long
your
as you're not no,
t-shirts.
as long as you're not no corrupt.
Yeah,
organisation,
as long
'cause
as
I
it's
will
not,
find
as
out.
long as it's not
Yeah.
satanic,
Or
Yeah.
corrupt.
you know,
Yeah.
send us your t-shirts and whatever, we'll wear them.
Yeah.
You know, send us your
We need to
bandanas and
support
your hats.
people. You're supporting
You know,
us. We want to
we'll
support
wear
you.
them and we'll showcase it
Yeah.
because we want people to know. And it's not, again, it isn't really about monetizing,
No, no.
but it is about letting people know.
Yeah.
Think for yourself.
Yeah.
And also that there's some things that you didn't think about, we'll say it on purpose
Yeah.
to make you think,
Because then you're
you know, and then you'll go and have a look.
That's it.
and your mindset
You know?
will be changed, and that's what we're here to do.
So, like for instance, quite a while ago, we had spoken about the COVID vaccine.
Mm.
I'm not going to say what we said. If you don't know what we said, go watch
Go
it.
watch the live, yeah.
So, but someone now recently, the last couple of days, said that they have watched and they've been thinking, and it has now informed them because of what we said in that live. So here we are.
Yeah, it's working.
You know, so it does do what we want it to do.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm telling you.
for
there's-
us, it does what it says on the tin is what
Yeah,
it does.
yeah.
What you see is what you
I'm
get.
telling you now, there's certain things that we cover in the
Mhm.
live, and then what am I seeing the next day? Suddenly the newspapers are bringing out,
Mhm.
and I'm not trying to say, oh, they're doing that because of us,
No,
but it can't be a
but
coincidence.
it's topical.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Mhm.
We're staying topical.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we intend to do. So, and generally, when we can, we try to sort of give people a heads up of
Oh,
what
what
we're
we're
coming
talking
next week.
about,
So next
yeah.
week, we're going to talk about. I'm not sure exactly how I'll word it yet, but I'm along what I'm looking at along the lines of what I taught my children and young people about relationships, sex, and identity. And that's what I want us to cover next. So obviously that means it's going to be a bit of me talking first because it's I who talk. These are my children, and there's some other young people who can come on and say what I taught them too. if they like. Right? So that's the way they can tell you whatever they want. And I'll tell you what I said then and even what I say now. Including my granddaughter who's upstairs now because she's still one of my young people.
Yeah.
You know, and there's some things that she hasn't been told yet that she probably wouldn't hear.
Yeah, when
Next
she was
week.
on the live. Yeah.
But she's heard plenty anyway because we talk.
Mhm.
You know,
And
and
you
you'll
can
get
ask
to
them.
understand how we do what we do as a household, you know, and as a family. Because this is important as well, because this is the thing that some people are missing. And again, I'm going to say what you should do if it's missing. I'm not going to say it now. It's next week.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Good night.
Good night.
everyone.